Hi there, it's time for XRP Wyckoff check. As usual, I'll cover these sessions with these key points if you're new to my session, and they are not financial advice, they're for research, education, and also discussion with the asset tech community only. Let's look at the weekly chart of XRP. XRP, while having like a 2 weeks rally, today, clearly the bears has an upper hand. When we get to the daily chart, we'll get to see that. So previously, I talked about XRP is potentially going through another sign of weakness. Indeed, it has been confirmed with that rally last week. And looking at what it means, it's basically the demand has been depleted to the point it's similar to what happened back in April 2025. So this level that's been tested at 1.80, the orange key level, was where the same test happened. Okay, what's happening now? What we call the last month supply is basically, after rounds and rounds of whales offloading, we're getting very close to the point where XRP may get back into the accumulation cycle. Alright, so that's what happened quite some time ago. However, I believe you would argue, given all the legal uncertainty, with SEC, and then all the payments discussion going on, or adaptation or transformation going on, XRP may have an advantage, and that its base price should be higher than what it was back in 2002 all the way into 2024 before the clarity came in, right? So assuming that's the case, just one caveat over there, that October 10th showed us, we have all those clarified, right? October 10th still show us that it can go back to the previous accumulation trading range top. Alright, that's somewhere around 78 cents. So keep in mind that may be the worst case scenario for Ripple. But staying positive, let's hope it doesn't go below the red key level of 1.55. Alright? Those are the assumptions we're trying to make right now. So I'm definitely trying to comfort the ones that are hoping for the better for Ripple. If it really does come down to accumulate at that high level, everybody would be happier. All right, so that's the big picture. Here, the daily chart. Last week we talked about some of these dates. Ripple was still trading at the lower half or the weaker half of the downward channel back then. But earlier this week, on Friday, last Friday, it started to move towards the stronger half of the channel. Just that, like I said in the beginning, it found rejection when it tried to go above the ceiling of the downtrend. And, even got close to the green key level of 2.45. You see how it's getting rejected. Currently, it's finding support above this white dashed line. This white dashed line took reference from the previous trading activity back in November 2025, as well as mid-October. You can go all the way back to 2025 springtime to find more reference price points. All right. The key thing here is that if the bulls successfully defend this line, all right, then they will continue to trade along this triangle. The bears are trying to defend this resistance, the bulls are trying to defend this support. When we get closer to the end of this month, it doesn't have to wait till that date. Somewhere between now till then, we'll get a confirmation. Is the price going to break outside of the downtrend finally? Or is it still going to get rejected and look forward to the next occasion when we get closer to mid-February, we'll get the confirmation. So multiple chances coming in, just that it's still not clear. The volume, I would say, is pretty healthy until today. All right, this volume bar today is not short, and it's definitely a clear sign that rejection comes in from that point. Of course, there's also a wick from the bottom. The bulls are also actively pushing the price out. When the bears try to push it really hard to break this support. All right, so it's a close fight, just that the volume is also high. If we look back to the big picture, if it really is heading towards an accumulation for XRP, this time the bulls would probably fail. If that's the case, the price may fall through this white dash line and then come back to challenge the red, not the red, the yellow key level, and maybe even lower. All right, not breaking out of the downtrend. If you ask, hey, what if it breaks outside of the downtrend, positivity comes in, what's the best case scenario? There's one over here. I left this tag right here. That's called upthrust after distribution. Assuming the macro environment improves, capital improves. XRP has actually not gone through the wildest stage yet. So it has gone through the buying climax, the upthrust, where the very first FOMO and the second FOMO came in. In Wyckoff method, there's something called upthrust after distribution. That's the FOMO after the previous two rounds of buying in. So if the timing is right and the money that's been printed or that's been released from whatever central government or central bank is going to come into crypto that quickly, despite the fact that gold and silver are taking the headlines nowadays. If people start to get back to the riskier assets, that definitely can push the price of XRP up and get into that stage. But as of now, if people are still having risk of mindset and chasing silver, all that may not be the likely scenario. All right, so that's for XRP for now. Thanks for joining me. If you want to get access to these sessions 2 days earlier, feel free to join the channel membership. Have a great day.